You are watching ABC7 News at 5:30.
Welcome back. A stormy week ahead as heavy rainfall from a tropical system impacts the Suncoast.
Let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with the latest on our first alert forecast this evening. Bob.
Thanks. Every 6 years or so, we see a tropical system develop, either a depression or a tropical storm. Will this become one? It's unlikely at this point. The chances are fairly small at 40%, and it looks as though if it were to develop, it would be a tropical depression at best because of the strong winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Interesting to note, though, it is just west of our area. You can see it spinning right there, and water temperatures out here a little warmer than they are right near the coast. Every once in a while, you see a line of showers pick up and move on in to the west coast of Florida. Now, not everyone got a lot of heavy rainfall today, especially in South Sarasota County. That's not to say that you're going to avoid it tomorrow, because it certainly could be back, and looks like mainly in the afternoon and evening. We'll get a little reprieve, I think, here overnight. That one band of heavy rainfall is starting to weaken now as it pushes off to the north. It's used all the energy of today's heating, and that's what happens to these storms. It's still pretty heavy into Manatee County near State Road 70 and I-75. Also in Longboat Key, just north of Siesta Key, a pretty big line of heavy rainfall there. That's going to kind of work its way toward Holmes Beach and Anna Maria Island in the next hour or so. The rain is fairly heavy along US 41 into near Palmetto and stretching off toward downtown Bradenton toward Terracea too. And you can see the motion and movement off to the north at around 20 to 30 miles an hour. So it's moving pretty fast, but it does contain some very heavy rainfall. Driving is difficult, to say the least, on the interstate system as well as into some of the state roads as a result of that heavy rainfall. But notice not much going on in Osprey, Venice, Northport. You're getting clouds, but it's not to say you won't see some periods of showers through this evening. Well, much more on that, and let you know about the rest of the week's weather coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Bob, thank you. The Tampa Bay Lightning are down 0-2 in their conference final series against the Washington Capitals, but if they win at least one game in Washington and then make it back to Tampa, it would still be the hottest ticket in town this week.
The Booker High School commencement ceremonies are this Thursday, and because of the new venue, tickets are worth a pretty penny. ABC7's Dwayne Lindo joins us to explain why they have such a steep price tag. Dwayne?
Well, guys, in previous years, high schools, Sarasota, Riverview, and Booker have held their graduation at Roberts Arena, but that will not happen this year. Booker High School is a little bit, basically it's growing, and here's the problem. There are only a few more than 1,700 seats here to accommodate for students and families at the Van Wezel.
This is what the ticket looks like. Each Booker graduate has access to a 5-ticket maximum to invite family and friends to their graduation. For some families, it worked out perfectly.
We have just the amount that we need for, for that core family.
But according to senior Bea Kelly, for many other families, it's a struggle trying to find tickets.
I've heard a lot on Facebook and seen people requesting. I actually had someone Facebook message me the other day that I didn't know very well, asking for some tickets.
And although some family members are scrambling for tickets, with Booker's enrollment growing from year to year, it isn't the first time the school had to limit tickets.
We reached out to the senior class and we asked them to help us find a viable solution. And it was the students that researched all the information on the Opera House and Van Wezel. The biggest thing is we knew if we went to Van Wezel that we would have to switch from a Saturday to a Thursday night, so they voted on that.
And according to Principal Dr. Rachel Shelley, this venue was a choice made by her student body.
Last year was the first time, even at Robot Sports Arena, we had to pass out tickets because our graduation class is increasing over the number of years. And so we gave out 8 tickets, but I also held back hundreds for our community members.
Assistant Principal Darby Larkin says in addition to taking faculty members out and having them stand, there was another way for students to obtain an extra ticket.
But there were a few left over, the remainder, as it were, of a division problem. So we had a lottery, and all of our graduates were placed in a lottery, and 150 of them, those 260 graduates, 150 of them each got an extra ticket.
Although some families may be riddled with stress in searching for tickets, they have an option to go online on the school's website and click on a live stream to watch the ceremony. Parent Wendy Kelly says either way you slice it, it will be something the kids remember.
I'm actually excited that it's at a nicer venue this year. I think it's going to be a great experience for the kids.
Now, according to the district, Sarasota High School will hold their ceremonies at their football field. Also, Riverview High School will also hold their commencement ceremony at the Ram Bowl, their football field. Reporting live in Sarasota, Dwayne Lindo, your Suncoast News.
Dwayne, thank you. During a joint meeting today, Sarasota County and Northport commissioners heard from county staff on the progress being made to build a spring training stadium for the Atlanta Braves. ABC7's Christopher Brantley joins us now with an update on that project tonight. Christopher?
Good evening. According to the Atlanta Braves, the project construction is on schedule. This despite the wet weather. We were told crews were even out there working today, although apparently it was quite muddy. Commissioners heard from county staff about the literal nuts and bolts of the construction, which beams are being put in place, what concrete is being poured, and so on. They also got a refresher course on what the area is to look like with a several thousand-seat stadium and practice fields all around. The vice president of Florida Operations told us today what the construction crews are working on right now.
We've begun the process of hanging steel. So the concourse has primarily been poured with all the concrete, so now we start to go more vertical. And the steel's arrived on site, and now it just starts to be put together, forming the second and the third floors.
A hefty amount of the workforce is local, about 320 workers right now. That number is expected to peak at about 700 as the work goes on. Live in the South County Bureau, Christopher Brantley, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Christopher, thank you. With the season over and snowbirds back up north, some business owners want to work together to bring more shoppers to downtown Sarasota. The head of the Downtown Merchants Association says he plans to put their collective efforts into a cohesive advertising campaign. Ron Soto says it's hard to compete against the malls and big box stores.
The Downtown Merchants Association is trying to get everybody together to do an advertising campaign to remind the locals that downtown does have it all. We have the greatest restaurants, we have great nightlife, and we have wonderful shopping downtown.
Soto admits some business owners would rather put more money toward infrastructure, but he says all the aesthetic improvements in the world won't matter if nobody knows about you. The Merchants Association wants the larger downtown improvement district to match their dollars. That will be discussed at their June 5th meeting.
More than 44 million Americans today are supplementing their income by doing extra work on the side. But while taking a so-called side hustle can be great in terms of cash flow, it can be demanding for some living here on the Suncoast. Sherry Clyburn works for an online grocery delivery service where she accepts orders on her smartphone and then uses the app to fill it out for her customers. The bigger the grocery list, the bigger the payout. She points out that due to rising costs here in the Suncoast, retirees and young people alike are looking for ways to make extra money.
I've seen somebody that was almost like in their 70s, late 70s doing this, and I met an 18-year-old high school student.
Coming up tonight at 6, ABC7's Dwayne Lindo will show us if it's really worth your time and effort to seek these types of side jobs here on the Suncoast.
And teens who want to make some extra money this summer, mark your calendars. Manatee County Parks and Recreation is holding 2 job fairs this month at GT Bray Park in Bradenton. The county needs dozens of camp counselors, lifeguards, swim instructors, splash park guards, and much more. If you're interested in applying, the job fairs will be this Friday from 7:30 to noon and Friday, May 25th from 2 to 6 p.m. Linda?
Coming up, we'll take you to a historic Manatee County home for a suffragettes tea.
There's never been a better time to call California Closets. Now during our Finish Upgrade event, save up to 15% when you upgrade to a premium finish. Schedule your free design consultation today. Visit our showroom or go to californiaclosets.com.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota. My credit score was not that great.
I didn't understand what went into my credit score.
It was overwhelming.
Do you want to attain better credit health but don't know where to start? Credit Sesame can help by providing you a free credit score.
I love the app. It's so easy to use. It's like having your own financial coach.
Credit Sesame broke my credit score down into things that I understood, and it made me think, I can do this.
And the awesome thing about Credit Sesame, it's free.
It's 100% free.
You don't need to go it alone. Get started today at creditsesame.com.
Get more for your money at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota. Subaru vehicles hold their value better than any other brand for 2018, according to ALG. And Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's most trusted brand for 4 years running. The Subaru Forester is an IIHS top safety pick for 12 years running. And right now, you can lease a new Subaru Forester for just $229 a month. Or get 0% financing with zero down. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
According to a new survey by U.S. News & World Report, 3 of Alabama's top 4 hotels and resorts are part of the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail Resort Collection. The Grand Hotel Marriott Resort in Point Clear, the Battle House Renaissance Mobile Hotel and Spa, and the Renaissance Birmingham Ross Bridge Golf Resort and Spa. Hey, we didn't invent Southern hospitality, we just offer more of it. Visit rtjgolf.com/resorts to find out more.
There's never been a better time to call California Closets. Now, during our Finish Upgrade event, save up to 15% when you upgrade to a premium finish. Schedule your free design consultation today. Visit our showroom or go to californiaclosets.com.
The historic home called Charms of Leffingwell has been a landmark in Ellington for more than a century.
Now it houses a British tea room, but it has played many roles in Manatee County history over the years. ABC7's Linda Carson shows us why it makes the Suncoast a great place to call home.
3 years ago, Judy Smith and her husband bought Charms of Leffingwell, this lovely old house in Ellington, and opened a tea room, antique and collectibles store here.
We do tea. We do like a British afternoon tea, tea and scones, and with the scones is a Charms cream, which is like a Devonshire or clotted cream jam.
They also serve finger sandwiches and desserts. The house was built by Arthur and Brilla Matthews in 1905. Judy learned their story from their granddaughter.
And they had 4 children that they raised here. Did the truck farming, because I asked the granddaughter what did they grow, and she said the same things like they grow now. Peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, that sort of thing.
After they died, the house went through several owners. It was turned into a boarding house and became run down and dilapidated.
When it was really bad, they were actually going to burn it down in a fire training exercise. And lucky for all of us, Harry and Bobby McGraw bought it.
They restored the house and turned it into a tea room. Meanwhile, Judy was studying all about tea.
And this is actually the cherry rose, so it's very, very pale. Almost 3 years ago, I decided to take a class in tea, social history and tea etiquette and tea blending and tasting. And my sister said, you know, Charms is for sale. And I'm like, oh.
She and her husband bought the house and got busy.
We redid the floors. We painted all the walls, cleaned all the curtains. Everything went out.
Until they retire, the Charms at Leffingwell is only open weekends and for special events. June 1st and 2nd, Manatee Village Historical Park will hold a suffragettes tea here. Tickets are available through the historical park. Judy will serve her tea and finger sandwiches, and
I will be presenting on how tea rooms played into the women's suffragette movement.
She says in the late 1880s, it became acceptable for women to go out in public to tea rooms.
Because they could get out of their houses and they could meet friends out in public and go to these places together, it became a meeting point for the women's suffrage movement because it was a place where they could all gather and talk freely.
And one of the things they talked about was how to win the right to vote. Women in Manatee County did not lag behind.
Bertha Curry was the first woman to vote in Manatee County. Her father was in charge of elections. So she actually got to vote a year before women gained the right to vote because of who her father was.
One of the many wonderful facts you'll learn. So join us for the Suffragettes Tea on June 1st and 2nd here at Charms to honor the strong and brave women of Manatee County's past. Linda Carson, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast. Bob Harrigan.
Well, here we go. GO-16 IR satellite infrared showing an area of low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's not at the surface quite yet, but it looks like it could work its way down to it. The National Hurricane Center has given it a 30% chance of developing over the next 5 days. And you can see all the moisture extending all the way out over the Bahamas, down into the Florida Straits, all that kind of rotating and wrapping around this area of low pressure. Again, pushing off basically very slow to the north. And you can see from the radar loop showing some heavy weather along the East Coast. They've had a tornado reported near Cape Canaveral earlier today with those bands of showers and storms there. Our storms haven't been rough in terms of wind, but it has been pretty heavy rainfall and continues to do so. And more showers are starting to pop up down to our south, too, in the Gulf. And you see that heavy rainfall now occurring along Longboat Key, stretching up toward Holmes Beach, and it's lessening somewhat in Palmetto. They saw 3 inches of rainfall in the southern portions of Parrish, and you can see that rainfall now very light in downtown Bradenton and also stretching off toward the east. You can see the rainfall rate at one point was up past an inch an hour. That has since ended now as the storm systems are moving off to the north. Now there's some dry air in place, which is somewhat good news because it's starting to entrain in. Every once in a while you see a little piece of that dry air come in. Well, that is going to limit some shower activity this evening and during the overnight hours. We'll still get some rainfall, but not the torrential rain that we could see with a system set up like this with this dry air just to the west and a lot of abundant tropical moisture on the East Coast. That's why we're seeing a little bit more heavy rainfall along the East Coast. This is one particular forecast model suggesting that this area of low pressure is not done with us. It's going to continue to spin a little bit off to the west, and then it comes back more toward the east and drifts to the north. But you'll see the greens all lighting up here. We're not going to see continuous rainfall, but we will see breaks now and again with the heaviest shower and thunderstorm activity mainly in the afternoon hours when there's enough heat of the day to use up for that energy. But you'll notice as we walk through time here, that green very seldom leaves the state, and that means we're going to be on the right side of it. Now, in the distance here, we're taking you through not this week, but this is next week. This is next Thursday, not this Thursday. And you can see this little closed low right here. GFS indicating that we may see a tropical depression here. And now the European is also starting to pick up on this feature. The European hadn't been suggesting that. The GFS had, and we hadn't been showing that because the GFS can sometimes kind of spin things up. Not when they're really going to be there. So we'll see how that plays out, but this is expected to move off to the north in time, which could bring us another round of some moderate to heavy rainfall next week. Well, here's the wind forecast. It's not going to be all that strong. That's why I wanted to show you this. We're looking at 10 to 15 mile-an-hour winds. So if this thing were to develop, it's not going to be a big wind maker. For boaters tomorrow, winds will be out of the south at 15 knots. Seas will be 2 to 3 feet. Now, the winds and seas will be higher near those individual bands of showers that could pop up, especially in the afternoon. 7-day forecast, a healthy chance for showers and even a few thunderstorms right on in through the next 7 days, right through the weekend, in fact. Temperatures will be slightly below average as a result of the increased cloud cover, and low temperatures will be warm, low 70s, and it will feel pretty muggy out there due to this tropical air mass that we're in. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Bob. Time now to check your first alert traffic for the drive home. The DeSoto Bridge is showing some major backups this evening. Both north and southbound lanes are congested. This is between the downtown Bradenton and Palmetto area, so keep that in mind if you're heading that direction. Well, prices at the pump keep climbing. Florida gas prices are up another 10 cents over the past week, reaching their highest point since November of 2014. On average, drivers are now spending $2.82 per gallon on gas. That's up nearly 50 cents in the past year. AAA says there are several reasons for that increase.
U.S. supplies are down a little. U.S. demand is up, worldwide demand is up, so those factors are combining. Plus recent political events involving Iran could affect the future supply, so that's driven the price up.
AAA says gas prices are still well below the amount where people will change or cancel travel plans. The most expensive gas in Florida is in West Palm Beach and Tallahassee, while the lowest prices are in Orlando and the Villages.
A U.S. Supreme Court decision opens the door to sports betting in nearly 24 states, but Florida almost certainly will not be one of them, at least for now. The court ruling the federal ban on state-sanctioned sports betting is unconstitutional. In anticipation of that ruling, some states filed legislation authorizing the lucrative sports betting should the federal law be struck down. Here in Florida, there are two major obstacles. A ballot initiative and a special legislative session stand in the way of joining other states which have cleared the way to allow gamblers to bet on professional and collegiate sports teams as soon as the NFL season begins in the fall. A proposed constitutional amendment on the November ballot will allow Florida voters to decide if they want to control decisions about gambling.
Stay with us. Entertainment news is coming up next.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Rugs as Art. You know the name, you know the building, but do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore. But there is so much more. Amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as Art and more. There is so much more to explore.
Like no other. So why should your choices be ordinary? Ghibli, the absolute opposite of ordinary.
Experience it at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Get all the local information you need before you leave home in the morning. Watch Good Morning Suncoast weekdays on ABC7 to get breaking news, plus first alert weather and traffic focused on where you live. ABC7, we're here for you.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Tonight, Hollywood is mourning the death of actress Margot Kidder.
Kidder, best known for playing Lois Lane in the 1978 movie Superman with Christopher Reeve, along with 3 sequels. Kidder's manager says she died peacefully in her sleep at her Montana home yesterday. Kidder also starred in the Amityville Horror and worked steadily in television and on stage. In 1996, she struggled with bipolar disorder and homelessness. Fans in Hollywood reached out and helped her, and she eventually became a mental health advocate. Margot Kidder was 69 years old. Well, all eyes are on the British royal family this week as we count down to a royal wedding on Saturday. For centuries, royal weddings have captured the world's attention and defined the times.
And in 2018, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are no exception. ABC's Maggie Worley takes a look back at some of the most iconic British royal weddings and how this couple might just leave their stamp on British history while also shaking things up.
Royal weddings have always been equal parts entertainment and tools of diplomacy.
A royal wedding is a historical occasion.
From marriages used to merge dynasties and form alliances to today's modern marriages of love.
How are you both feeling?
Britain's Queen Elizabeth also married for love as a teenager, wedding Prince Philip in 1947.
Princess Elizabeth, daughter of King George VI,
At 92 and 96, the two are currently the longest married royal couple. 34 years later, the world was captivated by her son Prince Charles's wedding to Lady Diana Spencer.
The world gets its first full glimpse of the fairy tale princess.
There was a seismic shift in the royal family because of Diana. She was all about making the family more approachable, more accessible.
Their relationship didn't last, the two divorcing years later, and the world mourned when, in 1997, Diana was tragically killed in a high-speed car crash. It was her eldest son, William, the future king, who captured the world's attention in 2011, marrying his longtime girlfriend, Kate Middleton, in a state affair. When his little brother Harry says, "I do" this Saturday, it will be a smaller event. But Harry's always been one of the most popular royals, and now he's got his future princess by his side.
Meghan is the first self-made woman to ever marry into the royal family. She's the first feminist. Of course, she's also biracial.
Like the royal weddings before them, Harry and Meghan Markle are defining the times.
To celebrate this groundbreaking story of something that never could have happened. Even William's father would not have been able to marry a woman like Meghan.
And leaving their own mark on royal history. Maggie Bruley, ABC News, New York.
And you can watch the royal wedding live right here on ABC7 in a 5-hour special edition of Good Morning America this Saturday. Coverage of the wedding, A Modern Fairy Tale, will start at 5 o'clock that morning and run until 10 o'clock. Got to get up kind of early, but it'll be going on.
And we'll be right back with more. Stay with us.